Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Joa here. So in this Python Tkinter crash course, we are going to learn a little bit about this Python module that help us to create a graphical user interface in Python. So what is Tkinter? See, Tkinter is the Python most popular graphical user interface. So Tkinter is available in most of platforms such as Linux, Unix, Windows, even Mac. And with it, it's very easy to create a desktop application and it also to create a prototype for your apps. And the best thing of that is that Tkinter, you don't need to install it because it comes built in with Python. Once you install Python, you are ready to make use of Tkinter. So in this crash course, we are going to have a little introduction about Python Tkinter. We will create our first windows. We will learn about some widgets that Tkinter offers us. We learn about the geometry manager, creating also a full complete project, which is this one of current converter. So in this project that we are going to create in the end of this same crash course, it's very easy. Okay, so this is app that help us to convert one currency into another one. For example, here we have $1. Okay, we are going to convert this $1 into Brazilian currency, which is real. So if I put it $1 and it will show us, for example, $1 in Brazilian real, it's equivalent into 5.10, okay, reals. So if I enter different number, for example, 5, then I just hit converter, it's gonna loading, then it's gonna give us the result. For example, $5 into Brazilian currency, it's equal 25.48 reals. So I can exchange also, for example, if I want dollar to any another currency. For example, if I want euro, AO, which is the currency that we use in my country. I am from Angola. Even Indian rupees. So there is a lot of currency. Let me check, for example, for Indian rupees. So which means $5 into Indian rupees is equal it's equivalent into 476.77, okay, rupees. This is what we are going to create. Also the same we can do a pause, for example, rupees to rupee, okay. uh, Maybe let's choose another thing. For example, rupee into this one, which is my currency, okay. For example, 5 rupees is equal 49 Angolan kwanza. Okay, so this will be the final project that we are going to create. And also, while the course will keep going on, we will create also some small apps, okay, but this will be the final one that we will create. So now the next step will be to create our first window in Python Tkinter. As I said in the beginning, okay, we don't need to install Tkinter. We just need to import it and make use of Tkinter. So how we can do that? It's very easy. You just open your code editor. I'm going to use VS Code. I will also, if you're a beginner, I will also recommend you to make use of VS Code because it is beginners friendly and it's very easy to go on. So the first thing that we are going to do is that, okay, we need just to import Tkinter from Tkinter, something like this, from Tkinter, import all. So this way we are saying, okay, import everything that is inside Tkinter into this script. Then after that, let's now create our first window. In order for us to create the first window like this, first we need to create an instance of Tkinter. So I'm going to create a variable called window. This way window. So my window will be equal tk. We need to import this c. Don't forget it. This first t is a capital T. Then the k is a small k. Okay. I will just do something like this. So this way I just create an instance of Tkinter. Then I'm gonna save this. So after we create the instance of the Tkinter library, now this same instance, it has a title, it has a geometry, it has some configuration. So now let's give a title for our windows. So in order for that, I'm just going to call the same instance, for the window. If I want to give a title for my window, I just call title this way, open and close. And here inside, okay, we need to give a title. So I can say something, for example, hello, okay, hello world. Boom, it's a good title. So after that, I'm going to start the event loop. So this event loop is the one that will help me to run, or better to show the window in our screen. Okay, so in order for that, I'm just going to do this window, get the same instance dot main, okay, loop. So every time when you create a window in Tkinter, it's very important for you to call this line. Because if you don't call this line, okay, and if you try to run your app, it will not show in your screen. For example, okay, let me comment first this line. I'm gonna comment this thing. Okay, save. Then I'm going to try now to run this to see what's gonna happen. See, As you can see, okay, it run, but you cannot see the result. Okay, it will run very fast, but we cannot see the results. In order for us to see the result, that's why I said it's very important for us to call these lines. What this line does, this line it start the event loop, okay, so that the window can keep it in our screen. So let me comment it, okay. Start the event loop. Okay. This is one of the most important line in Tkinter. So after this, I just need to run this now again. Then boom, we are gonna see our first window here. Okay, as you can see, this is our first window in Python Tkinter. Okay, so now inside of this window is where we will put everything that we need from, okay, that we need it to be showing in our app. So we will put everything inside of this. So these same windows, okay, we can also specify the size of it, for example, the width and the height of the windows. Because the way that it is, if I run, it's gonna give like a rounded size to it, as you can see, okay. But we can also define the size of it, for example, the width and the height for window. So in order to do that, I just can do something like this: window dot geometry, okay, geometry, this one. Then I will open and close. Then here inside I need to pass it as a string always, okay. Here inside, the first value that we're going to give is for width. For example, I can give 500. Then I will give x, okay. The second value that I'm going to give will be for the height, okay. I can say, for example, 500. Save this, and if I run, then as you can see, now it's giving a different size in my window, okay. For example, I can give a different one, for example, okay, 250, okay, 250, 500, 250, save. And if I run this, then boom, as you can see, now it's giving a different size of our window. Then apart of that, also we can configure the background color of our window. In order for us to do that, I can do something like this. I will just call the same instance, okay, window dot what, configure, this way, configure. Then I'm gonna open and close. Then if I want to give a background color, there is abbreviation for that. I can just give something like this: BG. BG stands for background, okay. Then I will say BG will be equal, and I'm gonna give something like this, okay. Always must be as a string. See, here I can give also like a hexadecimal values, colors, okay. Then I'm just gonna do something like this. I will give something like blue. Save. Then if I run this now, boom, as you can see, our windows change into blue, okay. Then I can give also for some different color. If I give for some green, okay, green, save. And if I run, so it's very important for us first to close. Then if I run this, and boom, as you can see, now our background color is green, okay. See, we know that the native colors is kind of a little ugly, okay. So we can give a better like derived colors, which make sometimes the apps looks better. So in order for us to do this, we can do something like this. We can come here, okay, in our browser and do something like this: color picker, okay, color picker, okay, color picker. So from color picker, we can get some any hexadecimal color which are very good, okay. For example, if I come here and I can get any better color, okay, I think I like this color, I can just come and copy this color here. And if I come to my VS Code and I can just give it here, okay, as X1 decimal color, I'm gonna save this. Let me close this one which is running. And if I run again, okay, I just run. Let's see the results. And boom, now we have a better color, okay. So this is how you can give a color into the Tkinter app, okay. You can give either like native colors, or you can give like extra decimal colors. So I prefer to give this way for me, because I think this way I can get a better result. So even I can play for example here, okay. No, I don't like too much blue. I think this one is good. Let me save, close this one. And if I run again, let's see the result. And boom, the background color just changed. So this is the way that you can change the background color in Python Tkinter.